All right, here we're going to look at some animation, text animation, kinetic typography, but we're also going to look at our animation presets that we have already by default and a couple different ways to look at those. But first what I'll do is create a new composition. I'll keep it like I kind of normally do, 1920, 1080, 24 frames per second. Let's keep it at, even just to say 10 seconds. That's fine. A little extra there. That's all right. Okay. And here I go. And now what I could see is I can now just actually play around with some type. So I'm going to bring in my type. I'll click on something and I'll just type in hello, my friend. Doesn't really matter. And if you spell it right, that'd be even better. So I can now get my selection tool, make it a little bit bigger, holding down shift. Okay, now there's a couple different things I could do with this, obviously. I can myself, of course, do some kinetic work myself, which I'm going to do really quickly just to show you the one way to do it. I'm going to bring my resolution up to full, so it looks good. And what I'll do is I'm just going to add a quick animation on this just to show you what the range selector does really quickly, and then obviously what our effects are going to do as well. So at least we have a good understanding of when we bring in these different effects and presets, we'll be like, oh, okay, I know how to work with that. I understand what they did there. So let me just go to a quick animate my text, and I'm just going to add in a position, let's just say. Great, so my position is there. So what's going to happen is I'm going to twirl down my range selector. I'm going to bring this up just a little bit. And I'm going to twirl down. Oh, my animator 1 is twirled, my range selector is twirled. I'm going to look at my position and I'm going to say, you know what, this is my position I want it to go back to, but at the position I want it to start over here, and it's going to kind of fly up. So what I'll do is I'll just do a start animation. I'll click on my start and I'll move it over a little bit, my CTI, and then I'll make my start was 0%, now it's going to be 100%. So that's all that's going to happen is it's going to start down there and it's just going to come up. That's it. So really, really simple. So I had my range selector, which is telling me where I want it to start or where I want it to end. I didn't change my end. It's going to end normally. My offset, if I wanted to animate my offset, I could have as well, but I didn't. I'm not going to. But you know what? Let's do a quick look at what that kind of looks like. So let's do the end. Once again, my end will be 100%. And then my end will be 0%. So this is what that end kind of looks like. That's all. Actually, move that a little bit. For some reason, it ended up being 1%. So that's 0%. So that's all that really happens there with the end. So it starts from the end. Very simply. And if I did the opposite now, or just one further, I say the offset, let's first make the start come back a little bit. So you see that little indication line right here. That's my start indicator. So it's just saying it's going to start here, and then my end I'm going to bring back to, and my end is saying it's going to kind of, the offset's going to be in between here. So really it comes down to how many characters I want to work at once. Do I want 1? Do I want 2? Do I want 3? So let's say that's going to be about 3 characters and spaces too. So now I'm going to animate my offset. So I will animate the offset. I'll start there. And I will animate the offset to here. So what I want to do when I do my offset animation, I want to click and scrub, and I want to make sure both the start and end indicators are at the end, which they are. And I want to make sure that at this keyframe, both my start and end are at the very beginning, which they currently are not. So I'm just going to scrub it a little bit more this way. I can get into some negative numbers, and there I go. So now when I animate that, that's all it does. So animating my start, animating my end and offset. Now I have a better understanding of how the range selector works, very simply. And of course I can add more animations within this range selection. And let's just say opacity. I'll change the opacity as well. Okay, so that's all I have to do is say the original is going to be 100%. So you know what? Let's bring it down to 0%. So now what's going to happen is it's going to come in. Sorry, let me click off the offset. I'm going to go back to the start. I'm going to do just a start animation. Start is going to be 100%. I'm going to get this back to normal. Get that back to, oh, that's going to be 100% as well. Sorry, I should have just reset those. And now my start is going to be 0. No, I did it the opposite way. Good. Maybe now I understand how that works. So let's make this one 0. And let's make this one 100%. There we go. Okay. So I have my animation. So now what happened, not only did my position come up from the bottom, but it started to obviously have a little bit of opacity as well, which is pretty cool. So the more animations you add, that all's great. You could add all these different types of animations, blur and tracking and fill color and all these different ones. And you just have to add them in and they automatically just start animating because I already set up my range selector, which is pretty cool. Either way, this is how the range selection works. Now let's actually add a preset. So I'm just going to open up my presets here. Let me drop this down a little bit more so I can see a little bit. And I'm just going to start with a new, I'm going to shut this off and I'm going to type in some new type. And I'll just type in the same thing. All right. And I will bring this up a little bit, hold down shift. There we go. Okay, let's see what types of animations we can do with the preset animations here. And I see that I have some animation presets. Great. So let me click on that. Now you're not going to find the animation presets up here in Effect. Effect is the exact same effects here, all of these effects here, but not the animation presets. You're going to see 3D channel, audio, all everything's here except the animation presets. So what I can do, I'm going to click on those animation presets and I'm going to look at text. And I'm going to click down on text and I'm going to go, oh wow, look, I have a lot of different things. 3D text, animate in, animate out, a lot of different options. And, you know, let's just do a quick one. Let's just do an animate in and so many different options. And as long as I have one selected, did I spell that wrong again? Of course I did. As long as I could do that, I can have it, if I have it selected, which I do, I could actually just double click on the effect that I wanted to try. Let's say fade up and flip. Let's just double click on that. Okay, that's it, done. I've added the preset. This is what happens. Oh, I'm gonna go back. So now it's like, okay, now I have a better understanding of what that preset did. And now I could actually fix it up a little bit. Animator 1, my scale, my opacity, my range selectors there, everything's there. If I want to, I could bring the keyframes back in over here. All right, so there I go. That's it. That's my fade up and flip. Okay, cool. So that looked pretty cool. I understand how they did it. They did an offset animation. They had the end start at 20%. They had an opacity and a scale. Cool. So that was kind of cool. I can make that myself if I wanted to using my range selector just like I did before. Okay, so that was pretty cool. Well, the idea behind this is I can click anyone I want, really, but I don't really know what they look like. I could just click and I have so many to go through. The idea is I can actually see them before I use them. Well, how do we do that? Quite simply. What I'm going to do here, I'm going to do this again. I'm going to shut this off and I'm going to make a new one again. Of course, I'm going to type in the same thing. All right, this time I spelled it right. Good. All right, there we go. So with it selected, I'm going to go to my effects and presets and I'm going to click on the drop down now. And with that drop down, I'm going to click on browse presets. And what that's going to allow me to do is go to my Adobe Bridge is going to open up. And as it opens up, what I can see is this open file here that I'm allowed to take a look and see all the different things that could happen here. But what I want to see, these are all my presets that are in here. I'm going to go to my text presets. And now I can take a look and see, wow, let's see what these do. I could look at my preview panel. I'm going to go to the animate in. And it's like, wow, I could actually do this and I could play it and I could see what it does. Wow, that's really cool. I could see all these. So it gives me a better look at all the different ways I can use these presets and kind of what they do and kind of choose one that I might really like. So if I want to, I say, you know what, I kind of like this random fade up. That's all I have to do is actually double click it. And it automatically gets added to the layer that I already selected. It was already selected. It happens to be a text layer. And now it gets added automatically. There. Now keep in mind, my CTI was right here, so that's where the animation starts. So once again, but I know how to fix that. I can twirl this down. I can go take a look at the animation. There it is, my keyframes, there they are. I gotta twirl this down so I can actually select them. One more time. There I go. So now if I want, you know, I want the animation to start here. Great, not a problem. Or I want to move it somewhere else. I can do that too. And there it is. I've added my preset. It looks pretty cool. I'm happy with it. There's some things I could change to it, of course. But for the most part, I'm happy with that. Another way to look at this is actually to go to this website, which I'm going to post on the comment below. is go to this website here, which is a phenomenal website. It's Motion Island. Like I said, I'm going to put the link down below underneath the video, and everything is here as well, which is really cool. So 3D text, let's look at all the 3D text available to us. These are in the presets. These are already given to us by default in After Effects. And I say, wow, that's a really cool one. I like that. Oh, I kind of like what's happening there. That's all right. So we could definitely play around with these. I could shut that off, be like, oh, I want to take a look at some animate ins. Yeah, these are the exact same ones that were in Adobe Bridge. This is somebody put together a beautiful website showing all of them all at once, which I thought was really cool. So let's even just take a look. Curves and spins. Let's say, you know what, I kind of like this Lasso Tumble. So let's take a look at Lasso Tumble. All right, so I can actually just go to my effects and presets, and I can actually type in Lasso. Oh, there it is, Lasso Tumble. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to duplicate this. Command D, open that up, go to my text. I'm going to delete the animator, so there's nothing here now. And what I can do is I'm just going to click on this lasso. So not only can I double click on it if this is selected, I could actually just click and drag it, bring it in. And a lot of keyframes there. Let's see what's going on with After Effects. And there I go. Okay, cool. So now it shows me a different way to add in my presets by either looking at Adobe Bridge and looking at all the different ones I have. If I'm unhappy with those, I can go back to text and click on, once again, my animate in, animate out, blurs, or there's so many different ones here I could choose from. Or I can go to this website, take a peek and say, you know what, these are kind of cool. I like what's going on there. Organic, see what those are all about. And then these give me an option to go back and see what I could do here in After Effects and play around with those. But once again, we could always go back to our range selectors and see how these are actually set up and made. So hopefully that helps you understand the presets, what's available to you already, and potentially how you could play around with them later on now that you understand how range selectors work.